thing that I'm nervous about is that my laugh will be horrible to listen to.
Oh no, don't put that in my head.
We don't have a name.
We don't have a name. You know what? We can just be like, we can name ourselves later, and
No,
then
that's
when
what I
we
was
do our
thinking
intro
about doing.
later,
That's what
we
I
can
was...
be like, we already did a segment actually, but you'll hear that then.
Well, no, I was thinking that what we should do is that we should do like the show, like we would be like, hey guys, welcome to the podcast that we're gonna decide on a name later. Right now, it's unnamed. And like that would probably even be true after we've watched the show.
Unless we like happen to come up with something, like we make a joke or something, like, well, that's
yeah,
it.
sure, no problem. I mean, that's what people do with their sign-offs, where they're like they're just like, that's it, that's the sign-off.
They're like, here we go. Why are you still here?
But I was should I be the one who starts the episodes? Maybe it should be the person who has watched the show who starts the episodes.
Hi, and welcome to our Violet Evergarden.
It's not a Violet Evergarden podcast.
I wasn't gonna stop it there.
Take it again.
No, that's it. That's the take. That's the one.
That's not gonna work though. It's not gonna.
Yes, it will.
You can't. It's the first episode of the podcast. You can't make a joke out of the intro.
We have to establish our dynamic now, Andrew.
People are gonna be listening to this in their cars, and they're gonna say, "Wow, they're really casual about this, aren't they?"
They really don't give a shit, and yeah,
really don't care. I hope, man, they sure are reviewing a really, really dramatic and serious show.
Oh my god, the show's so serious. But like, a good series. It's good. Hi, welcome to Violet Evergarden episode.
It's not. Here, let me do it. Hi there. Welcome. Hi there. Wait, stop. Hold on. Hi there. Welcome to our media review podcast, which doesn't have a name yet. We'll figure out the name later. So I'm Andrew.
Well done. I'm Elena.
Yeah, we both have A names. It's that kind of podcast.
Oh god. No, I'm sorry, I can't podcast with you.
Okay. Well, bye.
Show's over.
The two of us, we could call ourselves creative types, and we
Speak for yourself.
And we both wanted to do something online for a really long time, and we've tried. I swear to God, we've tried. And so we finally decided, fuck it, we might as well just go ahead and get something done. And so we're making a podcast, because that's what you do with your friends. I'm sorry that my microphone is a lot worse than hers. I don't have any money. I don't have any money. We're gonna be doing a media review podcast. We don't know what it's gonna be called yet. We'll figure that out, hopefully before we put the episode online.
Or maybe not.
Or maybe not. Maybe it'll just be called Unnamed Media Review Podcast. And
that would be fun.
That would be really good. It's like the Untitled Goose Game.
Can we name drop other things in this? Is that?
It's not. First off, we're not even getting paid yet.
That's like our whole thing.
Yeah, you're not gonna get sued for referencing other media. The whole point of the show is to reference things.
No, you're right. You're right.
So we're calling it a media review, even though most of the media we've decided to review so far has been anime. I swear to God, we aren't an anime review podcast.
We're kind of an anime review podcast.
But we're gonna do other stuff too, so don't get too comfortable with the anime, even though it's probably going to be the first 3 things we talk about.
Or first 10, as it may be. I'm looking at our list, it's definitely like...
No, we're gonna get to something else. We have to put something else that isn't anime at least in the first 5 episodes.
But like still a cartoon, right? What live action do we have? We don't have live action.
We have the... And that would be a good one. I'm gonna censor that though. You're not allowed to know what we're gonna do next.
Oh, fun! I just realized that we could do fun stuff like that.
And so, man, I'm so happy I get to cut out all this dead air.
We'll have like bloopers at the end.
So we wanted to we wanted our dynamic, much like a lot of other podcasts about media review, to be that one of us doesn't know the thing and that the other one does. Uh, that's a bad way to say that. So essentially, what the yeah you talk it.
I talk it.
You talk it.
So, I mean, he said it. You said it. One of us knows the thing, the other doesn't know the thing, and we're thinking of switching off between episodes. This episode, I'm the one who knows the thing.
We know the thing. So you might have. I don't know if I'm gonna leave in that fucking just atrocious take at the beginning.
Oh my god, do not.
So the media that we're going to be reviewing today is Violet Evergarden. Pretty sad for our first episode, huh?
It's not well, it is dreary. However, it is hopeful.
It's known as sad media.
It is. Yeah.
But it's so Elena knows the show. I don't know the show. I mean
it is my favorite show.
I mean I know the show. I just haven't ever watched it because I don't really dedicate too much of my time to Netflix. And so we're recording this little thing at the beginning. We might not even use it. So if you're hearing this, then like, I guess we just decided.
We didn't have enough content afterwards. So we needed to fill time.
We don't even know how long we're going to be making these episodes.
We have not a fucking clue. We were just like, hey, let's record shit. And here we are.
So right now, the audio that you may or may not be hearing right now is taken before we watch it, because we're that kind of show. I still haven't, at this current moment, have not yet seen, can this dog, hey, I'm going to have to retake all this, please.
Andrew has not yet seen Violet Evergarden.
I have not
but
yet.
But we're still answering questions.
Well, because I just thought that first off, it would just be more stuff to record, and we're having fun.
I'm dying of embarrassment, but let us continue.
I'm laughing.
You are laughing.
You have also laughed.
It was nervous laughter, but I suppose I have indeed laughed.
You have laughed.
Oh my god, am I the asshole dynamic? I'm the
No,
asshole
because it's because you've seen the show. When we get to a show that I've seen, you have no idea how much of an asshole I'm gonna be.
Oh
no! So I haven't seen Violet Evergarden. I don't actually know what we're gonna talk about before the show happens. I did write down some
questions.
I wrote down some things, but I don't want to like be super rigid about how we do it. But I guess I will.
So, dear friend Andrew.
Yes.
What do you expect about this show? Like, I know I've like babbled a shit ton about it.
You've told me all about the show already.
I have not, because we've been planning on watching it for like a year and a half. So I made sure to not like spoil shit at all.
Yeah, all right. So I mean, I still know it. I do.
Well, that's your fault, because I tried not to.
I haven't ever watched it, but I understand the basic concepts of what it tackles and the whole PTSD angle and all of that fun stuff. But I don't really know I guess what I would say about what I expect about it, what I hope for this show, is that it's a sad thing that I can cry about.
I hope you do cry.
Because there have been few shows that have brought me to tears, and I would love to add this one to that list.
Well, if it means anything, I mean, I'm a very easy crier. Although I didn't cry at Angel Beats, which is strange. But I cried nearly every single episode watching, albeit stuff with emotions, like that tackles emotion specifically, is kind of my weak point. So that's probably why it got me. But it did get me every single episode.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have a feeling that this is certainly not going to be my hardest cry. That one's going out to Anohana. We don't need to talk about it any more than that. Nothing can top Anohana. We're not even going to discuss it, because if we get into Anohana, it's just going to be the whole episode.
We can't do Anohana.
We also can't do Anohana. Both of us have watched Anohana. So we can't do... That will never be in this podcast. It's Elena's anime show. She made it. No?
I made... Hello, I created Violet Evergarden.
I mean, like, honestly.
Honestly, though.
Uh, so, yeah, no, that's basically all, what I don't know what I expect from the show, but I hope that it's a sad one that I can be really sad about, but in the good way that media likes to get you to.
I hope that as well.
And my next thing that uh, I already talked about that one. Yeah, no, we did all the questions.
Did all the questions. So that's been our intro bit. We're running on nearly 12 minutes now.
That's a podcast. I mean, it's a lot's gonna get cut out.
A lot's gonna get cut out. This is gonna get cut out.
It's gonna be 5 minutes of audio, and then we're going to have just dead air for 12 hours while we watch a show.
Wait, are we leaving the recording?
No,
going?
no,
like...
no, no.
I was like, no.
No, we're gonna pause our funny recordings, and then we're going to watch the whole show, or maybe half of the show, depending on how much time it is.
We were supposed to do the whole show, but someone
Yes?
got a plate.
Is that you?
No, you said noon and then didn't message me till like 1:30.
I mean, I got up at noon. I did get up at noon. I just didn't message you until 1:30.
Just saying, it was your schedule that you failed to adhere to. But we can probably still do it. It's like 14 episodes, 30 minutes, 7 hours. Easy peasy, and still time for dinner.
We live in different time zones, so it is 2:22 for me and 4:22 for you. And so I can certainly watch the whole show. I don't know about you, though.
I probably can. I do have schoolwork tomorrow, but
I don't have that.
I don't.
We'll get into our personal lives in a different episode, I guess.
Or we could. I mean, sure. I guess. I'm gonna stop recording now.
I'm also gonna stop recording, and we'll be back. Goodbye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I
love that spike.
When I was editing the previous thing, I would sync up the fucking claps perfectly, and then I'd be like to myself, like out loud, I would go, yeah, because it sounds so good.
Oh my god, you're a fucking nerd.
It's God, that first, I guess I'll, welcome back.
Still don't have a name.
Well, we'll get into that.
Oh, we're getting into that.
So welcome back. I feel we should part the curtain just a touch before we get into things. This isn't the first time we've recorded this.
This is take two.
This is take two because we have now finished watching Violet Evergarden. We finished watching it, and it was a great show, and we'll get into all that. But we finished watching it, and then the next day we got together and we ended up recording and talking about the anime show for 2.5 hours.
It was a trip, and it was after school, so I was tired, exhausted.
And I was like, this should be fun. I can cut this down. And then I started listening to it, and I was like, oh no. And so I was like, I reached out and I was like, hey, we should probably just re-record that because it would be faster on me to just like edit a shorter version than to cut down all of the long version.
And also like do an actual review.
And also
all we did was literally just summarize the whole thing, which was not fun to do or I assume listen to.
It was very long and very, informative. Like if you wanted to know the show, you could certainly listen to that, but that's never going on the internet. There were no jokes.
Patreon.
We didn't tell any jokes.
No, it was after school. Or was it? It was after school. I did something that day, and I was tired and exhausted. It was something school related.
Yeah, well, luckily,
Doesn't matter.
Luckily, we're high energy now. I took my dog on a walk, and that gave me just enough clown boy energy to get me through the rest of the podcast.
And I
Uh,
just woke up from a nap
and yeah,
and
we each get our
chugged a whole
clown energy
Coke.
from different ways. Uh,
Okay.
but yeah, so that's that's
So,
that's our little that's our little intro. That's we'll get into our funny. Well, first I want to mention I was because so we've parted the curtain there. We've announced that this is not the first time we've taken this. It has also been quite a bit since we've watched the show, and in that time I have edited the first half of the show already and come to a lot of conclusions about how podcasts should work because of it. uh, like I'm thinking these episodes should be 30-ish minutes long because that sounds fun, stuff like that. But the thing that I want to talk about just like fucking as quick as we can, so we can actually talk about the anime show that the episode is about. Uh, I thought up of a name, and this is totally up to you if you want to use it, because like
oh,
it's a
good. Love that pressure.
it's a
I
partner.
get to feel
Well,
like an asshole on air.
it's a partner dynamic, and if one person doesn't agree, then half of the people making the show don't agree, and that's so. But I had an idea because you sent me your audio for the other parts, and I wanted to differentiate them so I could remember which audios was whom. And my first thought was I should just put like the initial on it. Uh, uh, but I
We're
realized
both
both
A's.
of us are A's, and so I was like A, and then so my next thought was the first two letters of the first name, and so I named yours like AL intro, and then mine was like AN intro and that kind of stuff. And then I was thinking about it, and I was like, what if our podcast's name was Alan?
Alternatively, while you were talking just there, my brain was like, double A batteries.
That's a name. Uh, yeah, just call us Duracell. Hey, it's the fucking bunny,
Sponsor
dudes.
us, Duracell.
But no, I was like, Alan. What if it's just Alan? And like it's in all caps, and so it's kind of like an acronym, but it doesn't mean anything. It's just our names.
Uh,
So you're telling me that well, we'll
I'm
stew on
not.
Alan. We'll think about Alan.
We'll put it on the table.
We'll put Alan. We'll leave Alan over there, and he'll just kind of he'll just kind of fester until we
We can mash them together and we can be double A Allen.
uh and Alan will sit over on the table until we realize we don't have any other names and we just have to resort. uh
I can't do Allen.
Sarah.
I'm just gonna knock him. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I started the bit. I started the bit with you. If you don't care for Alan, we can take
Just
him.
gonna knock him off the table.
No. Oh my God. You have to be humane about this. He's a living, breathing creature. We have to
He is not.
we have to we have to take him into the woods and drive away.
Yes, the humane route.
We, I'm so sorry, Alan. Whatever.
Alan.
Uh, so let's start talking about this sad show.
It's not sad.
It was sad. I mean, it was sad.
It has its sad moments, but it's.
I mean, yeah, no,
I would use the term bittersweet.
I mean, it was nice at the end. No, it was wrapped up. Season 2.
So, general summary.
Yeah.
Violet Evergarden covers the character development of the titular character, Violet Evergarden, who is a child soldier who has not had the chance to really realize what emotions are. And so the journey covers her just kind of discovering various aspects of love in an attempt to find out what her major, who pretty much raised her, said to her the last time they met.
Yeah.
And that's it, general summary.
Yeah.
No more summary.
Yeah, the episodes kind of center around her learning a new kind of emotion concept through the lens of these different characters having their kind of like episode long character arcs. And while her character arc is throughout the entire show. And it's a good show. I mean, fucking seal of approval, baby. It was worth watching, and I suppose I could say it was worth waiting to watch for an opportunity like this to watch it with someone who like actually was really a big fan of it. Uh, but I guess the same could be said about I shouldn't have waited so long.
I mean, it's been on the table for us to watch for a while, but
Uh,
it was in the plans.
it was.
I think life just kept happening.
I
But I'm glad that I did get to watch it with you, and I didn't just be like, I'm gonna rewatch it.
eh,
It was very good to like wait and watch it with you.
it was nice. It was a nice little show. So I want to do just a little. I guess this will be one of our classic bits where I just read off of Wikipedia. Uh,
Okay.
Violet Evergarden. It was originally a light novel series written by Kana Atatsuki Atatsuki Atatsuki
Violet Evergarden.
Kana Atatsuki Akatsuki, one of those. And
Atatsuki.
Atats
Maybe?
no, it's AKA
Yeah.
Akatsuki, and illustrated by Akiko Takase.
Akiko Takase.
There you go. You can look it up yourself.
I did.
No, that's saying that to the folks at home. If you want to know how these are, go to Google Translate and put these names in, and then press the little volume button.
And please don't come for us for butchering Japanese names. I
It's
feel so bad.
no, it's fine. And then it was later developed into an anime series by Kyoto Animation. Uh, it's won a lot of fucking awards. It was like best animation Crunchyroll awards. Has all kinds of critical acclaim. Everyone was talking about it when it came out. It's just a big show, so that's fun. Just bring
And
that
it
up.
deserves every ounce of attention that it's gotten.
You did a good job. We like it.
Did a good job.
We like it. Uh, so now I guess what we will do for the rest of this episode is just kind of point out really significant moments that we appreciated, and then at the end we'll give like a rating, I guess.
Are we gonna rate? Okay.
I mean, we're
Double
talking
A rating.
just I don't know, sad factor. Nah, we'll make up some fucking random ass ratings for every distinct show we watch or whatever.
These scales are not scientifically approved.
Uh, so I want to point out, just because it's an early thing, at least it was an early thing that I noticed because I don't have my notes. I took a lot of notes, but it's been like a week and a half since we watched it, and the last time that I looked at those notes, and I don't have them open in front of me, so I'm just kind of doing this. This is just from my heart. So,
Bro, same. I threw my notes away after take one because I was just so upset.
but a thing that I want to point out, I'm still like I've been thinking about it since we've watching, is just that the this show got awards for its animation quality, and it is fully deserving of it. The animation in the show is very good. Obviously, like any show, it's not beautifully animated every single scene, but you don't expect that from a show. But even in some scenes where you wouldn't normally expect to see really, really well done animation, they still kind of surprise you. The one that I think of is it was the third episode when she went with her coworker to her hometown. Uh, there was just one little like scene flourish of her friend like sitting down in a big dress, and I
Hmm.
I literally remember, and we brought this up in take one, but that's been erased. uh, but it's just that flourish of her sitting down in a huff is just like I literally keep thinking about it as like this is such like not so significant moment in this overall kind of significant episode, and they put a lot of time just into her sitting down just so that,
Hmm.
and like it's not center frame, it's like it's almost in the foreground, like it's out of focus, but it's just like super well made. Like they put time into things that you wouldn't really think of, and that's just good animation, baby. You can't really ask for more than that.
Honestly, them sitting down like that, like consistently caught my attention. Like someone really enjoyed making those skirts go floof. No, the animation just like has always like I mean obviously it's gotten awards for its animation, but of course we gotta talk about that scene with the pond and the water. because that's
Yes.
like the key scene that
It was
everyone like
episode 6, 5,
nine, nine.
9,
No, nine is seven,
7. Okay, one of
seven, and
those.
then nine. Those are the two big heavy hitting
Uh,
episodes.
so for context, she meets with a writer who is known for his plays, uh, for writing like plays for people to act out, like a Shakespeare type, I guess. He is he is currently in the process of grieving, and this is why he hasn't put out like a play in a while, because you later find out that his daughter died. Um, and our titular character, Violet Evergarden, looks strikingly like his deceased daughter. And they have this kind of pivotal moment towards the end of the episode where she helps him kind of finalize the ending of the play that he's writing with the character in the play who's supposed to like jump across a large body of water and float back home. And uh, and the guy kind of offhandedly says like, "Oh, it'd be really cool if I could see that. Like, you should do that for me." Haha, like not really being too serious about it. And Violet, who's kind of in this, I mean, robotic state for most of the series, is like, "Yeah, all right, I'll do that." Uh, and she just takes like an umbrella or it's a parasol and then tries to jump across the lake and doesn't make it. But there's this really extended kind of slow motion long shot of her gliding through the air, and in the back of your head the whole time you're like, she is not gonna make this. That would be ridiculous for her to make it. But at the same time, they're really building up this idea of like, holy shit, what if she just does it?
What if she just fucking does it?
What if she just does it? Like, gravity just doesn't work the same there, I guess. But then no, she crashes and the scene kind of ends. Uh,
Which, on that note of like Violet, I'm gonna shift the talk to the writing because that's my focus.
yeah, no
Um,
problem.
um, when I mentioned of her like being sort of robotic up until this point, in this episode in particular, she has like shown some understanding of emotions up until this point, but this episode is like when you kind of first see the glimpse of Violet being like a 14-year-old girl. Because like there's moments where like the writer like gets stuck and she's like, well, what happens? Like you. She's like, I have to know. And this guy is specifically writing, like he's taken a stab at writing a children's play, because it was the bedtime story he used to tell his daughter. And Violet herself gets so caught up in it, and it's like the first moments that we see her getting to be a real kid, and that's just like always like, to put in cliche terms, like really speaks to me. It's like a very pivotal like part of her character arc.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, yeah, no, there's literally, I think it was the beginning of that episode, they establish her hearing, like, the guy tells the story of how his daughter died, and then the first reaction that Violet gives is she's like crying. And that's like a really, because I think she mentions it at some point that she's never really done that kind of thing before. Like, she's never gotten so sad that she's actually like started crying about something. And so
Mm-hmm.
this episode is certainly like a big tipping point in her character growth to stop being this kind of militaristic character and start being a human. uh, One thing I want to bring up, this is kind of throughout the entire show. I can respect it for how serious and realistic the military aspect of the culture is. Um, Clearly, the writer actually knows a lot of stuff about the military and how it affects people and like tactics and all of that stuff. And so it's very realistic in that sense. Um, However, I will say, just for me personally, military sob stories aren't the kind of thing that catch my attention too often. So there were a lot of parts in this show where you were designed to be sad at this bad thing that was happening and the military was to blame. And like obviously I am not I am an empathetic person. I'm sad when characters are sad on the screen, but I'm not
Oh,
I wasn't like I was just kind of like yeah.
I was very. I cry a lot in this show.
Yeah, that's I feel like cuz this was in the when we brought this up in the intro, I certainly did get teary-eyed. There were two key moments that really kind of hit me. Um, but I never really broke down like I did in some other shows. Um, which I mean, I guess. uh, it's again, it's just it wasn't really the story that would have sucked me in as much as something else. So I can see why it wouldn't have done that. Um, the other thing that brought me, because it was the first one was the first thing that brought me this close was the story we were just talking about with the daughter and the and all that stuff. Um, I'm realizing now it's probably has to do with kids is what gets
Mhm.
me. That's probably how it happens.
Mhm.
Because the other one that really hit me was it was nine, episode nine.
I believe so.
It was the episode where she is tasked to go to for a week to a kind of like richer woman's home and help her write like a ton of letters. We didn't mention this earlier. Violet, she one of the things that she does to start her character arc is she takes a job as a what is the term?
Auto memory
An
doll.
auto memory doll. So she is essentially a someone who is made to write letters for other people, helping them like get the emotions that they couldn't really put into words themselves, or just write it for them because their arms are weak and that kind of stuff. Um, but she is tasked to go for an entire week to this richer lady's house and help her write a bunch of letters, just like a bunch of letters, and we're never really told what they're for, because the entire episode is focused on a different character, the daughter of the rich woman, uh, who is justifiably very upset that her mother is suddenly spending a lot of time with this new lady instead of spending time with her. Her mother is sick. I believe they established that her
Mhm.
father was also sick and then died. Uh, so like she is justifiably like, "You're sick. My dad was sick and he died. You're gonna die. You need to spend time with me instead of this random lady you called in." Uh, but she doesn't hate Violet. There are scenes in the show that establish that she likes having another person around. Uh, and she likes playing with Violet. I mean, they're both children. It's just that she's a lot younger.
Mhm.
Uh, and the story kind of climaxes. I'm skipping past a lot. Go watch the show.
Go
Uh,
watch the
Go
show.
watch the show. I'm skipping to the climax here. Um, yeah, we brought up spoilers. We brought up if you shouldn't be here if you haven't seen the show. Uh,
Or if you like care about
if
spoilers.
you unless if you don't care about spoilers. But this is a nice one. But they kind of the climax of this show, they reveal that the letters that she was writing, that she was getting Violet to write, are a series of like individual letters that will be delivered yearly, one a year, to her daughter after she dies. And it really really messed me up. Again, I didn't cry. I got super teary eyed, especially just at like at the reveal of what it was, because the whole time I was thinking that the letters were something else. I was thinking that it was she was writing letters to someone to come take care of the daughter or something, or like something else. Just I didn't expect that that's what that was. And when it hit me, I was like, "Oh my god." So it's a good show.
Yeah, this is another one of those like we finally get to see like how far Violet's come in her like processing of emotions, because the whole time, because like Andrew said, the episode is from Anne's, who's a little girl, her point of view. And it's episode 10, by the way.
Mm,
Um, but um, we see Violet as like this cool, calm, collected. Like she obviously knows what's going on, but um, she looks like she's just being who she's always been. This unemotional, detached kind of individual. And then she gets back home and she just breaks down. And it's very, very reminiscent of like how she relates to her situation with her missing major. And so like she's honestly, I took it as like her like projecting like really hard onto this situation,
mm,
because how else is she gonna process these things?
yeah.
But it's just like seeing this like otherwise emotionless character who's like struggled with like identifying what she's feeling and how she's thinking about emotions, like put it like into words and like express herself and just break down like that is like it's like getting a bucket of cold water dumped on you.
Mm. Yeah, so that's great. It's I can't say that it's a good show enough. Like there's nothing else to be said about it other than yeah, it was really good and worth watching. And if anyone out there still hasn't watched it, uh, you should.
Please do.
Even if the spoilers are like, I don't, I already know everything. Just go
You
watch it.
don't.
There's a lot we're not going to talk about, and also just, I mean, watching something is better than listening to two idiots talk about it.
Well, speak for yourself.
uh, it's like the sound design. Sound design's very good.
Oh,
Lots of good little,
sound design,
lots of good little sounds. Music, very.
the music.
Mm, uh, not really. Uh, I mean, it doesn't play in every episode, so I suppose it makes sense why the intro is not very memorable to me, just because I literally don't remember watching it half the time because it wasn't in every episode and it wasn't like a something. It wasn't they didn't like
Oh,
play
like the song.
they didn't play it at the end. Yeah.
I do think they could have done a whole lot more because Violet Evergarden is very much feels like an anime where like they will play like like you get to the final episode and they've played the opening to like every single episode up until now and then they like play it as it's like keying out for the last time but they don't. um it definitely feels like an anime that should have done that because the opening song is probably like my favorite like uh, not my favorite on the softer side of like openings. It's definitely my favorite.
Mm.
um I personally prefer an opening that's going to get me like super pumped, but this is not like a like super pumped kind of a show.
You definitely there are shows to watch that have openings that are justifiably pump full, but this one is not. You don't need it. This is an
You
emotional
don't
story.
need it. They're
Um,
like, we're going to prep you to cry when we play it. And it's kind of like random which ones that they decide to put the opening or not. I kind of want to feel like, oh, do we have time for the opening disco?
yeah. Uh,
um,
there's a certain feeling about watching a show that doesn't have an opening, like a certain attitude that it gives you.
mhm.
But the one thing I wanted, because we're probably gonna wrap up here pretty soon, so that we don't go into 2-hour territory like we did before.
We haven't even hit 30 minutes, bro.
Exactly, or cutting it off. Um, but
Okay.
but the one thing I just wanted to bring up, the ending of the show, like not the ED, the final like climax and like finale kind of drift off. The actual end, like where all of the characters like stories are wrapping up and they're like kind of establishing little things that are would lead into a season 2. That's all well and good. The climax is a little, I mean, it's fun, but it's so weirdly action focused.
It's very thematically different from the rest of the show.
Like it's super fun, but it's like this is a thing that a lot of sad stories kind of wrestle with, where you have to have a climax, you have to have like a rising action, and you have to have like that really like scary kind of like fast-paced music and like characters running around doing all kinds of different shit. And there are only a few that I really can say like nail it, and this one they do a good job. They do like with what they were trying to do. It's they did the best that they could. It's just
hmm
maybe they could have tried something different.
Well, they did have to go based off the light novel,
Yeah, I mean,
which might have had something to do with its pacing.
hmm, it's
But because like yeah, the whole time we have like this like background kind of politics, and it's very politics. Like in one episode that I don't want to go into, but like it's like the marriage between a prince and a princess, um, and so like that's like their peace marriage or like we see people talking about it, but it's very like politics.
eh,
Or like you hear about like these what is the word I'm looking for, rebels. Like you
rebels.
hear about these extremist rebels that are like surging, but you don't really see it until Violet gets there, and she does like I do appreciate like how they get her there.
It is fun.
um because that's all like very cohesive, but it is very just kind of like, okay, we've established emotion, time to kick some ass.
Yeah, no, you are fixed. Go kill. Except she doesn't kill. She makes a specific point
Congratulations,
not to
war
kill.
child, back into the fray you go.
Yeah, I mean it's I mean it's thematically it works. It's just, like when you have a story that the entirety of the show is kind of this uh like really slow burn, kind of somber, uh like it's the thing about, like, learning. You expect the finale to be like the big revelation where she's, you know, maybe she maybe she maybe she's running around trying to figure something out, and then it finally clicks, and then she has to run back. I don't know. I literally have no idea what it could be because I'm not a writer, but it's just
Well, they did it. They did it in like the episode before the finale,
yes.
like where she had like her big revelation of what she was looking for, the words that her major said to her, what they meant. She like dealt with grief, and so we just kind of have this final episode, which again, high action, pretty action. Like it was
Oh,
like entertaining to watch.
good fight scenes.
Good fight scenes. Very intense. Did hold my breath.
She
Um,
she does break both of her arms again.
um, but it does feel like it's very much just kind of there to set up season two, as opposed to like tying up loose ends.
Yeah, I mean they get the stuff right at the end, where it's just kind of like a little montage of every character kind of coming back and being like, "This is
Mm-hmm.
what I've been up to," and it's nice. I will say this is another thing. This is the last thing I probably will say about the show, just because we were talking about the ending, and now I'm thinking about. I thought about this while the episode was happening. During the finale, she loses both of her arms again. She loses them in the opposite order. That seems kind of weird, huh? Uh,
What do you mean?
like when she was a kid and she was in the military and she lost her arm, she lost them. I think uh
It was the right,
it was the right arm
then the left.
first, and then the left arm came off later. She lost them when she was in the fight. It was the other way around. uh I
I mean, it's a 50-50 chance of one going first and then the
Yeah,
other.
no, I was thinking, like, the whole time I was thinking, like, oh, this could have been like some thematic, like, cool little thing that they would have done just for people who would have noticed it, but it's fine. It's, it's like there's literally no reason that this is me being nitpicky about like a little thing that I thought would be cool, and then it turned out that they didn't do it. It's a good show.
Good show.
Good show. We're gonna watch one.
Go watch
The
it.
next one that we're gonna do is gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot. It's honestly kind of like a comedy, but just with like fun action and good. And that
Wait,
would
which one are we doing?
uh, I'll tell you after the finished recording.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah, because I don't want to say the names of the next one because I still feel like I would want to censor it. But the last in the while I was editing the first half, I did the censor and I was like, this doesn't sound very good, but I can't. I have to stick to my roots.
Your roots.
I have to censor this just for on principle because I said later that I would do it. Um, uh, but they anyway, but that one will definitely the this ending half here is not going to be very Clown Boys, just by nature of the fact we're talking about a very serious show.
Yeah, we're gonna do pick better things.
Well, no, it's
I
good.
just wanted to watch this.
It's good to talk about these, and this will be and it's fun. I'm sure people still enjoy it. But just that I'm just letting everyone know the next one, it's gonna be one we will be able to make jokes about, and that's it.
That's it. Go
And
watch
that's
Violet
it.
Evergarden.
Go
And if you've already watched it, go watch it again.
go watch Violet Ever. Well, not. I mean, if you just watched it, then maybe not. But
Go watch it again. I will.
but skip episode 5. Was that the one?
Let me check. I got it up right here. That's not the one.
Uh,
I mean, it is important because, yeah, it's episode 5. It's important. We don't endorse what goes on in it.
yeah, it's
We gotta end on a good note, Andrew.
we will end on a good note. It's a good funny show, and the fucking
Good show.
animation fucking rules, and and it's fun. Go listen to the OST.
Pull up sincerely, listen to it, cry over it.
Go watch the special. Go watch.
Oh yeah, that was a thing.
And it wasn't. It was all right.
It was all right. This is not a good note to end on.
Go
Go watch the show.
Go-
It's good.
Go watch the
Pretty
show.
good music, good writing.
Yeah, no, 100%. There's not the seal of. Oh, what's the fucking ranking? That's right. I said that earlier.
Do we have to do a ranking?
I'm going to do a ranking.
Andrew's gonna do a ranking.
Well,
so I suppose
This'll be my special ranking. Don't hold. I'm introducing a new bit. Episode 1. uh, I'm gonna say, on a scale of, uh, of 0 to, sad. I'm gonna name this one, melancholic but hopeful. And that'll be that. Goodbye, everyone.
5 out of 5 violets.
5 out of 5 violets.
Okay, I'm turning off the recording.